of Valencia to invite me to this workshop. It's a very interesting workshop. Obviously, I don't agree with all the opinion, but it's normal that we have a different point of view. In the case of my presentation, it's the view of the Spanish Customs Authority on the application of the custom value control, especially in the risk of undervaluation. Before to enter in the risk of undervaluation, also other colleagues has mentioned it, we have to take account that we are in a union custom and we have a common legal framework. So in this case, we have to apply the UCC and the delegate act and implementing it. In the case of the custom value, the most important article are the article 46 and 48 for the control, and the control could be carried out at the moment of the clearance or in a posterior moment. And the article linked with the custom value are the main, because in the delegate act there is one article linked with the authorization of the article 73. The main articles are from 69 to 76 of the UCC, and the article 127 to 146 for the implementing act. Also, we can apply the national legislation, but only if the European legislation is not there is a provision about an issue, and the national legislation is not opposite of the European legislation. Also, we have to take account the interpretation of the European Court in the case of a custom value, I don't say the best expression, but the leitmotif of the European Court, at least they say in all ruling, is that the objective of the European legislation on custom valuation is to introduce a fair, uniform, and neutral system, excluding the use of arbitrary or fictitious custom values. Taking account the legislation and the interpretation of the European Court, we have to carry out our control. And the control and the result of the control have to take account it. What are the aim of the control in the custom value? Obviously, verify if the custom value declared is according or not with the legislation. If the operator use the principal method, the price paid or payable, we have to check if there is any of the limitation that the article 70 of the UEC introduced. Normally, the relationship affect or not to the price. There is any restriction for the subsequent phase for commercial to distribution of the good, or something like this. If there isn't this limitation, we can accept the principal method, and we verify if all values that in the article 71 and 72 apply or not apply. Normally, royalty, credit, insurance, research and development, and asset, or something like this. And in case that the principal method is not applied, or the operator goes to the secondary method because it's not applied the principal method, we have to check if the operator respects the order or not. And in case that we reject the principal method and go to the secondary method, we have to respect the order that established in the law. taking account this general framework, we are going to, or I'm going to speak about one of the main risks that we have, that is the risk of undervaluation. What are the characteristics of these risks? We can see in the slide. The first one is they declare a custom value sensitive lower than other similar consignment from the same country, the same classification tariff code, in the same period more or less. Normally, the profile of this operator is similar. Normally, new operator, as say Diego, normally this type of mafia use several operators. Also, they can change the name of the operator during the transfer. As you see that the bill of lading appears one company, one consignee, and when the goods arrive at the custom, you see that the importer is another one without an operator of sending between in the middle. As said also, Diego, the final destination of this good normally is the black market. So the custom procedure is only the first step of the fraud, because they want to introduce the goods in the black market to avoid the VAT and to avoid the tax income. We think that in most cases the custom duty is the cost is the more cheap, because normally in the most of the goods the rate is 6, 10, 11. In the case of the style of the footwear, we can find some rate about 16, 18, but in all cases below of the VAT rate and the tax income rate. Taking account this characteristic of the risk, we can carry out the control at the moment of the clearance procedure or in a post-clearance procedure. If we have this type of operator to carry out the control in a post-clearance moment, probably you can detect the fraud, but probably the recovery of the money is not possible. So the moment that we consider that is the best for us is in the moment of the clearance procedure. And the tools, or the main tools that we have to carry out this type of control is the Article 140 of the implementing act. The article says this, and we can split this article into points. The first point say, okay, if the customs authority have reasonably do that, they can stop the custom value and request to the operator that explain why the reason of this DAP. And the second one is if the DAP are not displayed, the custom authority can reject the custom value declared, and we understand that we can go to a secondary method. This is the reduction. But there are some questions that we didn't have the answer until the ruling Euro 2004. And the two main questions that we made was when can we initiate the procedure? So when we have a reasonable doubt. For example, if the custom value declared is lower than 30%, 40%, 50% in comparison with the consumer similar, is enough or to have reasonable doubt or not? And when we can decide that the DAP are not displayed? as say Santiago, the customs authority can decide to, okay, send me all the documents, and I decide, oh, I have to do something more. Okay, until the ruling, each authority can interpret anything, but after the ruling, probably we don't have all the answers, but we have some answers. Rolling or not, but we have the position of the European Court. Well, the first one is the ruling is taking account the previous legislation, but now the Article 114 is quite similar to the Article 181A of the previous implementing regulation. So the first question that I did before, when can we initiate the procedure? Okay, according with the court in this ruling, when the custom value decree is lower than, in this case, more than 50% of the statistical mean value, we can have a reasonable doubt. So, in this case, we can initiate the procedure and request to the operator that explain why this value. And the second, and also the court decide that it's not an automatic procedure. You stop or you carry out a control, you have reasonable doubt, and you request to the operator that they explain. But if that is a key element, also the custom authority don't solve the doubt about the accuracy of the document, this is not necessary to accept the value. The court say, okay, you have to see all the picture, and one of the elements of this picture are the invoice, the transfer bank, and other documents. And you have to analyze all these elements with other that you have in your database, or than the action that the customs authority could be done, or the other information and or documentation that the operator can provide to the customs authority. And with this cocktail, you have to decide if the DAP are displayed or not. Okay, well, it's more or less that I said before. I make in the case that the court conclude that if the operator doesn't afford or ask new information, this is enough to reject or to not display the data. And if the operator gives additional information that they give at the moment of the clearance, you have to analyze if the custom, if the data maintained or not. Taking account this legislation, in Spain we apply a similar procedure before this ruling. We have a similar interpretation that the court done in this case, and in this flow chart we can see how we carry out the control in the case of undervaluation. In the case, as I said before, we think that the best way to attack this type of fraud is in the moment of the clearance. So, what?
I cannot hear.
The moment of that we think that the best moment to attack this type of fraud is in the moment of the clearance.
Clearance.
Clearance. Sorry, my English is not the best. Okay, so when import declaration is submitted in the system, if the system detected that is the custom value declared is sensitive low, the custom declaration is selected for control. The first step is to check if really the custom value declared is sensitive low or not. If it's not low or not sensitive low, okay, we release the constituent. If we check that is sensitive low, we initiate the procedure of Article 114. So we request to the operator to explain why this low value. And if they want to release the good, they have to pay or to deposit a guarantee for the potential debt. We give a period to attend this request for the administration, and they can decide to give additional explanation or not. If they don't give additional explanation, okay, we reject the custom value and we go to a secondary method. If they attend the request and they give additional information or documentation or anything, we analyze all the picture, as I said before. We see the commercial document launched in the moment of the custom declaration. We analyze the new documentation or the new information, and we can check also the information that we have in our database. In the case of Spain, we have a common database between the custom administration and internal tax administration. So we can cross information linked with previous import declaration, VAT declaration, income tax declaration, and any another type of information that there is in our database. And according to all this information, we take a decision. We can accept the value declared, so we release the guarantee and indicate the good in the custom office we release the good. And if we don't dispel the debt, we reject the price and we recalculate according with the article in this case 74. Respect the order that the article lays down, and we apply and we recalculate a new custom value. This is our procedure, and we think is the best way to combat this type of fraud. As Diego said in his presentation, it's a complex fraud. There is a company that they change easily from one member state to member state. They very easily change the operator. They can obtain ID number or a ORI number easily in each member state. So, and also they can flexibility to change the supply chain from one member state to other member state. We detect that for logistic reasons they can change immediately from one port to other port. In the case of Spain, we have a serious problem with the undervaluation, and when we start with this procedure, they change to UK in a few months. When UK began to carry out the control, they change, I don't know, but in 1 to 3 months to the East country, and they are changing member state to member state in a few months. So the problem that a normal operator have to change for question of logistics to change one port to other port, also inside of a member state, that the operator say, oh, for me it's quite difficult to change from the port of Valencia to port of Barcelona is quite changed because I have to contact with new transport company, new declarant. In the case of this type of company, they can change from the port of Valencia to port of Constanza in Romania in 1 month. So it's quite difficult to attack this type of fraud. And for this reason, I think, okay, it's not automatically to impose to the operator a database. No, database is a tool that we have to detect risk concealment. And in this moment, we initiate a procedure to check. If during the procedure the operator can justify the custom value, we accept the custom value. If not, we reject. Also, we have a potential tool that is the interpretation of the European Court in the case of the Euro 2004. And we have in this end, we have in Spain we say the primo de fumosol. I don't know how do you say housing of is a big
a strong friend.
yes. And LeBron James would have but if not, it's quite difficult to combat this top fraud. But in any case, it's not automatically low value, reject this value and apply a secondary.
Imagine, for example, that what you do is systematically request these people a warranty for a potential debt. And you say, we are waiting for the Chinese government to answer. And we will discharge your warranty when we get an answer from the Chinese government. The Chinese government doesn't answer, the warranty is there and there and there. Okay?
Yes, in a perfect world, we can do it, but the perfect world doesn't exist in this case. I don't know, Diego knows as well as me, we have several problems with the authority in China because we demand, at the beginning I think we try to obtain information in a massive way. Okay, they say, oh, it's a lot of information. Okay, we were more selective and we try to check some operation. The result of these requests were the same, silence. So this way to obtain information, I think
you know you are not going to receive an answer, but you keep the imports with the warranty. They are having a cost.
yeah,
If they cheat, they have.
yes,
Eventually, you will have to finalize the transaction or do something.
Yes.
But they have a financial cost, and it's not so easy to cheat.
yes, but you have a guarantee during 3 years is the limit to, and if the Chinese doesn't answer, what I do after 3 years, release the guarantee. We have to find another way to act. So while the third country, the cooperation of third country is not possible, we have to act against this type of fraud. And one of the tools to attack this type of fraud is this procedure. It's the only that I aware of because, as you say before in the presentation, go to the police, carry out a penal investigation with this type of operator is probably in the perfect world is the best way. But the time that you need, the result that you need to finally discover a fraud of millions of euros, that at the end is probably that you don't recover all of this amount. I think you have to do because not only is the money, you have to put in the jail this type of people, but you have to find another way. You have to take another tools to fight this type of fraud. And one of these tools or this arm is or weapon is this this procedure. And for me, I don't know if you have. Sorry. In line with the presentation of the colleagues from Rotterdam, and also that Giacomo said, in Spain, the solution for is the Article 166, the provisional value, and later, beginning of the case, quarterly, annually, to launch a complementary declaration to involve all the custom simplification that can affect for the royalty, transfer price, or something like that. In our opinion, it's the best way to solve the situation, because the Article 73, there are some problems. In my opinion, the main problem is that the custom value declared according with the Article 73, for me, is a final value. It's not a provisional. So I can change in the future if the transfer price I have to carry out some adjustment. For this reason, I think the best way is the Article 166.
It is in the SAD instructions that you need to use a simplified declaration and then a supplementary declaration.
Yes.
So in Spain, it's in the regulation that you need to do a simplified declaration and then a supplementary declaration.
The Article 73 is for a specific problem that is impossible to know at the moment of the deal, or in a later moment to know exactly what is the custom value. And for me, is enough.
Can I ask a question? So Spain doesn't contemplate, from a customer's point of view, to have agreement and to, if there is transfer price adjustments, to declare at the end of the year flat rate or a specific percentage. That's not really that Spanish.
The Spanish, the position of the Spanish in the case of the transfer price, from a point of view of the custom administration, is this transfer price could be solved via Article 166. We are of the opinion that when there is an import between parties, you can maintain that this is a definitive value, because at the end, or in the period that you decide, this transaction could be affected by the relationship between the parties. So we understand there is a final price in the moment of the period. So you have to present a provisional value, and at the end of the period, if the relationship can be affected, and you have to do an adjustment at the end of the period, you can modify the custom value declared at the moment of the period.
With the supplement, so basically
With the
the answer is no, there is no
Simplified and supplementary.
So basically there is no.
If you don't file a simplified declaration, you will be saying my value is final, so you cannot come back later and say the value is lower. If you want to have the opportunity to say my value is lower, you have to file a simplified declaration.
And if the value is higher?
It makes sense, because in a simplified declaration you are saying, I don't know my final value. You are being honest, recognizing, I don't know what my final value will be. So if you are being honest and saying, I don't know what my final value will be, then customs will allow you to come back and say, okay, my final value is either higher or lower. But if at the time of clearance you say, my value is this, and you don't say nothing else, and you come back later and say, oh, sorry, it was lower, they will say, no, you reported a final value.
No, but what I'm saying is, imagine 2021, you approach customs. We would like to have an agreement that for future imports, so we're talking 2022, 23, 24, can we sign an agreement that even if we have downwards or upwards adjustments, we will pay by year a flat rate or a specific average percentage? Instead of called simplification and simplification, because when you have 10,000 or 20,000 import declarations in 4 European countries and dealing with each authority, it's just.
That's why I said what we need is a simplified supplementary declaration. The supplementary declaration should have a simplified form. Where you only provide an Excel document.
Exactly, an analogy.
But the simplified declaration needs to be linked to the original one.
That's the official rules.
Analyze the manual, the resources needed and the time consuming.
Yes, this is one of the problems that the company transmits to us, and we have it's not a perfect solution, but you can, with only one message, you can match all the simplified declaration. You can send only one supplementary for all simplified declaration. It's not the best, but at least they only have to send only one message to the client.
Per month?
The period.
Oh, the period.
One declaration by one declaration breaking down import by import. But that's because of European law. We will need to change European law.
Sorry, just another question. The Spanish customs authorities, do they have connections or do they talk with other jurisdictions like Germany or Belgium? And if there is agreement with the Spanish authorities to be correlated to other countries, or there is no way to do that and we need to approach each different country in the European Union? Or is there any use in the future to do that? Just to align with the US in a way. Because from a US multinational point of view, when it comes to European Union and try to do business with multiple countries within the European Union, it's very difficult to do business when there is no clear message of how to deal with transfer price adjustments compared with the US.
Yes, it's one market, but 27 simply.
But it's one new customs law.
Yes, I know. Depend on the solution that you adopt. If we are in the Article 73, depend on the member state that issue the authorization. The authorization can be used in all member states, or if the authority decide to restrict to a specific member state, they can use in each member state, depending on the case. If you have an authorization for the transport cost, probably the solution given by the Netherlands authority is not the same that the cost of the transport from the Romania or Spain port. If you are in the Article 166, each member state decide. But if you have a multinational that can act in different member states, we exchange information with other colleagues. I think that we have in the past it was the Custom Value Committee. Now it's the European expert group of custom value, and then you can exchange information and criteria for this type of situation. So perhaps you can find one case that the member state decide alone, but normally there is a common position at least at the procedure to act in the same way in all member states. And if not, the Commission try to reconduce the situation because the legislation is the same, so the all member states have to act in the same way.
Thank you.
Okay, no more questions. Thank you very much for attending the session. I think it was very interesting, very intensive also. We will keep having several new workshops in the participant universities. I think next workshop will be in Rotterdam. So if you are ready and if you can move with your COVID passport, you will be able to attend the future seminars. Maybe we also are able to record them and post them on the website. So thank you very much. This is only the beginning and the project continues.